something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Well, g'day, folks. How are you? I hope you're having a pretty good sort of a week so far. Sorry about last night's show. Life, the universe, and everything does get a little carried away around here at times, and last night was another one of those sorts of evenings. However, Guru and I have been trying to get together to have a bit of a chat and figure out how we can get both shows sort of going at the same time. So hello to everybody on Guru's channel, and let's introduce him. G'day, mate. Nice to have you on board.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. We were going to do this last night, guys, but like Carl said, and Kazza, guys, look, you heard her voice over the last week or so. She's having a few days off, just going to try and recoup. It's been a pretty long, hard walk, Carl.
Indeed it has, mate.
Brother. Yeah,
indeed it has.
We haven't had days off, so yeah, I'm happy to see Kaz actually just take care of herself, mate, and you know what I mean? Like take 5. So brilliant.
Yep, absolutely.
I couldn't find a better producer, mate. She's brilliant. I can't, you know, like, yeah. Shows to be nothing without her, mate. She just brings that other aspect to it, Carl, you know, instead of, you know, some bed fuck. Anyway,
no, mate.
Viewers, yeah, we're trying to stream channels, guys, and hopefully we're going out everywhere, we think. Anyway, Project Tilda's also flacked out everywhere. So cool.
Yep, we're doing the best we can across every platform possible. So we'll see what we can do. And yeah, we all need to rest and get the battery recharged occasionally, and there's certainly no shame in any of it. So the fight, as you say, does continue. It seems to continue on multiple levels. Politics is the main flavour of the moment, I guess, whether it be international politics and what's going on in the land of Oz. I say that with my tongue firmly in my cheek, referring to America. And what's going on in our markets, what's going on with the price of gold and silver. And, of course, ainsleyBullion.com.au, good place to go and check it out. They've got that ticker that runs right across the top of the screen, and it updates, I think it's every 15 seconds. So you will see it. And as I have done, silver go back through the $50 barrier again over the course of the last 24 hours, and it could well go as high as, 55 and a bit it was the other day. So keep your eye on that. Gold's back through $5,000 an ounce again too. So if you're lucky enough to hold some of that, you'll be rubbing your hands together and praying it goes further. But what are you hearing about Nasara Jasara, Guru? Is there a date? I don't know. Any kind of a future?
I've always stayed right away from it, Carl, because it's something that I could see in some documents, but I couldn't get a handle on in the background. You know what I mean? I just could not get anywhere to go to actually find what I presumed thought was factual relative information. But I think what we got to watch here is what Trump's doing. Look, Jasara and Nasara comes, guys. Good on it. Okay, this is the way I look at it. Good on it. Okay, we're not here to wait around for Nasara Jasara to give us all a fucking financial boost and sit on our ass. We had a country to save. So to me, that's a background. It's a bit like first you seek the kingdom of God, and all else will be handed to you. So I think that's what we need to be doing, guys, as God's church. If fighting evil, we need to concentrate on what we're doing, you know, and all other things will come for us. You know what I mean? So that's the way I sort of look at it, Carl. It's been a very, very confusing topic, you know. But what I watch now is I'm laughing, seeing the mainstream about Trump, these tariffs with China. You know, that's all crap. It's all crap, man. You know, those two guys get on. This is all being used to manipulate the world stage. So the quicker we can wake people up as to what's going on, the better we are, you know. But they're rampant forward in America, Carl. And if Nasara and Jasara is going to happen, we'll hear come from over there. And I'd be waiting for it to come from one of my, pretty well trusted sources close to the Trump team, you know what I mean, if it did come. So that's it. I don't know. Oh, yeah. Long way to say that.
No, it's all right. We all have a long way of saying things. Don't worry about that. Hey, as you say, Trump is playing a lot of cards at the moment. They are mainly market cards, and obviously the tariff is a big card to be playing across all countries in the world. With a federal election coming up, you've at least spoken to somebody that has a little bit of experience. Craig Kelly, I believe you had on not too long ago. Where do you sit with this election going forward? You've had a bit of experience. You've dipped your toe in a couple. And what's your feeling?
My feeling is these two muppets, Albo and Dutton, are probably going to kill themselves tonight at this debate, Carl. They are a bunch of both, like you got Dutton turning around. These guys will do anything for a vote. And I think the normal people out there will be understanding this, that all they're worried about is the vote to get there. Okay, so where are we? Mate, we got Rennick's Freedom First or Family First Party, whatever it is. Yeah, like it. Okay, Rennick's been doing and saying all the right things. I can't, whether Ralph Abbott and that have got the same character, they're in with him. I don't know. You know what I mean? Mainly because, Ralph gave me a cold shoulder, so I never got to talk to him. So he didn't get to meet me, and I didn't get to meet him. But that was down to Canberra there, Carl. Remember I went backstage to have a chat to him? Or I was talking to you?
Yeah.
More or less the rub off, you know what I mean? Yeah, I know you. Yeah, send an email. Oh, really?
No, I have the same luck. He doesn't want to talk to me either. And I've got to be honest, I haven't reached out to Senator Malcolm Roberts, although he usually does try and fit me into his schedule somewhere. He's been pretty good.
The other one going okay, Carl. But, there's a few issues with him too, you know what I mean, in what we believe in, which is about 28 and that, So we've got a couple of little issues with Malcolm Roberts too. Now, Malcolm a decent player. Yeah, like Nancy, I've met Malcolm. I've stood up on stage with him and ripped into him, and you know what I mean? The guy was cool. He took it, you know what I mean? Politely, but I let him know that we were pretty serious. But, I mean, let's step further up the line. So we've got this. We got One Nation. Well, sorry, she couldn't even vote for our free speech card. So they're out the window, as far as I'm concerned. Gone.
Yeah. I agree.
Which leaves us a bundle of independents and a guy called Clive Palmer. So I had Clive's girl on the show last week or the week before or whatever. She's since Sue Ellen, right. She's since watched the witness statement, Carl, and had a look at that and sent me a message the other morning. But again, I made note to her that, by what we're reading in the public, there's a 40% vote swing here, because it's ever been, Carl. People that are undecided, that 40% view. So I thought it was great to go to Clive and go, okay, if we can get the mission statement with, vote, Clive Palmer, witness statement, in every letterbox, that's probably what I'm asking for. You know what I mean? And I've sort of relayed halfway where it's still a negotiation. I'm not saying we're going to get it. Okay, I don't know. If we do, that'd be great. But if we get one of these into each letterbox and tell people to either vote for the local independent, or if there is none, vote for the Palmer party, have we got something that we can do something with, Carl? Because we're in trouble. Okay, Rod and Gap. Yeah, fair point. Okay, you got Rod and Gap. So you've got a couple of parties out there that we can vote for, but the political structure on how you get them into the Senate and do what you need to do, Carl, is the thing. We need to get as many independents in, I think, from previous experience, as many independents as we can. And we need to put the pressure on Clive a bit to find out whether he can help us, the people, to get the message out in the last 30 days of this election. That's what I think, needs to happen, Carl.
There's a few people who are doing some pretty good work at the moment. The People's Punter, is that his name? The punter, Conrad. He's doing a really, really good work at the moment with the gas companies and exposing them for all the money. We've got, like you say, a hodgepodge of freedom-friendly people standing at this forthcoming election. Everybody is being targeted, I guess, by all of us with one particular bit of information, or maybe a couple of bits of information. Conrad is focusing on what's going on with the gas. You and I tend to look at a few other different areas. How do we make this vote for those people that are choosing to go and vote at this election? How do we make this the lowest ever turnout or lowest vote for the major parties? What more can we do?
Well, all we can do is keep exposing them. I think they're doing it themselves, Carl. They're looking like gooses out there, mate. You know, look at the look on Albo's face when the hecklers are coming in now. You know, it's just like, you know, we are the people. Okay, they're going to heckle. And unfortunately, it's frigging greenies and bloody whatever else is in there heckling usually. Although a guy we put on the show last week, guy done a really good job of going in and putting it on Albo. But again, Carl, I think these guys are big enough muppets to make a fool of themselves. Now, I think Albo's an absolute muppet. All right. I don't think the guy's got an IQ that, you know, would get him anywhere. All right. He's been, you know, selected. You've seen him in his younger days work for the Communist Party and whatever else, you know. So, you know, we've got a socialist side of things. So we got him, but Dutton's scary, mate, because he's an ex-cop. And he's already been to Israel late last year, around November, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? To see his boss over there, you know, BB, and got his directions. Now, I believe they're going to steal the vote. And unless we do something like America done and we make it that big for the independents and let's pick one person and say it's Clive, you know what I mean? Unless we can make it that big, I don't really know, because I think they're going to install Dutton. That's what I think is going to happen. That's my guess. I've stuck with it for a while now, and I think that's where we are, Carl. I think they're going to whack him in, mate. That's scary.
I guess
to me.
I guess you've seen Topher Field's breakdown of how our voting system works, preferential voting, the marbles video. I commend it to people. If you haven't seen it yet and you don't really understand preferential voting, it is a brilliant breakdown of how it works and how your vote can actually continue on, right down to the last Freedom Party that you want it to go to, and make sure that you don't get it to a Liberal or a Labor or one of their minion parties. Well worth looking into. And I think the easiest way for all of us to block the power, at least, which has obviously gone to the head of Albanese and co, which isn't hard because they've clearly proven there's no fucking brain inside their head. So there's a lot of room to fill up with the echo chamber of, oh God, how good are we? I would simply ask anybody who's in the chat or who denies it that Albanese and the Labor Party are any good for this country. I would simply ask them to say, are you spending more than you were 3 years ago today? And the same can be said of any government. I agree. That's why we need change. So if we can break that down and get more independence in, so that they hold the balance of power, in theory, if they are good people, and you know, that's why we're voting for them, because they're good people, they're standing up to do the right thing by we the people, then hopefully they won't be corrupted by that place, because I fear it has a way of corrupting people, and they will maintain a balance of power for we the people and stop the madness. These governments, successive, it doesn't matter what flavour, are just doing whatever the hell they like. They put it out for public opinion. They either skew that public opinion or ignore it, and do what they like anyway, under a different name.
Well, look what you've got. Look, I think that the normal people out there, and I'm sorry to call them normal, but yeah, you know, the people that aren't us, Carl, they've got to be looking now at going, hang on, if they get power, they're going to take our port back in from China. When did China get our port? You know what I mean? And the Albo comes out on the same band. We'll take it. Well, why haven't you took it back in the last 3 years, Albo? Hopefully, these are the normal questions that people are asking themselves, Carl, to see the stupidity of what's going on out there. Because why does China own one of our ports? Now, we've been screaming about this ever since we knew about it when we started researching. But no one's done anything about it. Now we've got an election. Oh, we'll get your port back for you. Fucking bullshit. Bullshit.
Yeah. And that hasn't just been an issue in the last few weeks. That's been an issue for the last 6 years or more. But nobody wanted to bring it up last time. Why do they want to bring it up now? Oh,
what about
the
water at Cubby Station? What about the water at Cubby Station? They can't get to our farmers.
Yeah, very true. Very
Same people again.
I guess part of what I'm getting to is unity in our movement, and and there are plenty of good people doing great things. I've mentioned a few of them tonight. I'm happy to mention more, but it is also incumbent that we mention those who maybe aren't doing the right thing. And ordinarily, I probably wouldn't give this bloke too much time or too much effort or too much exposure anymore. I think he's proven that to at least many of us that trust isn't just to be something you assert and have given to you. Trust needs to be earned. And I have had some audio sent to me from a meeting of the Freedom Union. Now, it's quite a lengthy bit of audio, and I will not play it all here. I will, however, play one or maybe two bits of it. I'll play one bit that I've cut together because I think most people will find it instructive. Let's put it that way. Now, I don't know. I got a phone call today, and I take very little interest or care in what others say about me. I think, Dave, we're all aware of how little I care about that, aren't we? And you the same.
We wouldn't be doing it if we cared. About what other people say.
Yeah. So apparently today I've been branded a grub by John Wilson. A grub, a horrible grub, a rotten, horrible grub. Because I tried to speak with the bloke who replaced John as the spokesperson for the Freedom Union, put in a request to speak to Stephen. And I know, absolutely. I'm a grub for doing that. At least that's what he offered up.
All right, you're going to have Hoodie and Lara on us for a minute, mate. We keep using this grub bit. They're going to be like, right, the boys what are they doing? Look, Carl and Guru.
True that. So John went on to attack everybody, of course, that doesn't support John, and anybody and everybody who doubts John or has questions for John, and basically anything that if you've got a thought that John doesn't agree with or didn't have himself first, then you're obviously a Freemason, a grub, and not to be trusted. Now, trust was a big issue inside the Freedom Union, and this, in fact, where this audio that I've got that was leaked to me then starts is from the perspective of a guy who was chairing what it sounds to be like an executive committee meeting of the union, the Freedom Union, and it sounds to me like he has along with the rest of the executive, suffered some form of, I'm not going to say abuse, but lack of trust. It was in a previous meeting, it was discussed by John that he didn't trust anybody on the board, yada, yada, yada. In this audio, he does make an apology for that. He said he was having a bad day and all that. And we can get to that on another day. For mine, there is some very interesting, there are two reasonably interesting bits. I'm going to play you just a piece of audio that came out of this conversation. It's very short, and I hope you'll hear it. John has just heard from one of their executive members saying that, like all of us, he's on the bones of his bum and has no money. He's obviously been a driver for John at some point and spent $140 on fuel and whatnot, driving him 5 hours around on a trip. Never got any of that sort of reimbursed. And John was saying, well, I'm happy to make sure you get all that money back. Just give me a call. I don't discuss money in the open forum. You know, not discussing money in the open forum. However, he did say this.
I don't do the transfers, but I'll make sure that it's paid.
I don't do the transfers, but I'll make sure that it's paid. That's another way of saying I don't have control of the money, but I have control of the person who has control of the money. That's what he is actually saying there. But that's just one little piece I've cut out because, trust me, there's a lot you're going to want to hear out of this 20 minutes, and I didn't have enough time to cut it all together. There is a very nice little 2 minutes here, which Guru, I'm sure you'll like to comment on at the end of it. Have a listen to
I'm
this.
not talking in open forums about money, okay? Just contact me tomorrow, mate. And I think Denise contacted me the other day.
It's Denise. I'm going to interrupt here. You know my background. I'm a CEO. I've worked for some of the biggest CEOs in this country, okay? I've downloaded the expenses and I've got questions. So we need questions answered. I will send everyone in this team a meeting, a copy of the financials, and then you can fill in the blanks because there's a lot of stuff in there that's not right and it doesn't sit well with me. And being a Christian and being part of God and being God within me, I can't go on if we're not going to have clarity because what we're doing is supporting exactly what we're fighting. The expenses have to be very clear. Now, I've spent my working life in boardrooms doing expenses, and if I put this up in front of a CEO, I'd get torn to strips by it. So that's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Well, look, there's a way we can fix this, Denise, and to everyone here. The theme that I'm getting here is there's a lack of confidence in the leadership, right? Okay, and you guys are raising that. That's the theme that's coming through, and the only way to deal with that, right, is to announce my immediate resignation as the national spokesman for the Freedom Union. Let you guys, and I wish you well, let you guys elect a new leader that you've got confidence in who can do the job.
John.
And I leave it with you. I leave it with you, mate.
You're asked once to be accountable and you run away. That's this week, John.
My goodness gracious.
That went well.
Yeah, that went well. All right, Guru, I open the floor to you.
Well, firstly, I noticed he straight away come back with, we can fix this. That says to me psychologically wise that he already knew there was a problem, okay? But he wasn't going to look at the problem. But now, straight away, his mind said, we can fix it. So he knew there was a problem. The second is, typical union people and that, I'm not having a dig at look, I've sent John Wilson a few messages, guys, don't you worry, when he's done the wrong thing. But what have I done? I've done it privately, okay? And I've just sent the message off to his phone. Excuse me. Have I ever had a reply? No. But what John's good at is throwing off. And this is the narcissistic, and I'm not saying he's a narcissist or anything else, but narcissistic tones straight away, puts him up, well, I'll resign then and use, what I mean? Straight away, that's just, that's a bullshit, as our old mate on Justice Matters would say, that's just bullshit. So, again, look, I was the first one to ask to sign on that union with John. And I said no. All right. And I was talking to Rick about it. And I said, Rick, why would you put two big names on there? Stupidity to me. You put one big name and you'd have another nobody on there. So if, two people aren't getting taken out if this all goes to shit. And Rick agreed with me. And then next minute I knocked him back and he asked Rick and Rick went on it. So I don't know, but I was skeptical about the union. The unions have given us nothing but trouble, Carl. If you want to create a place to get infiltrated, go and create a fucking union. You know what I mean? Seriously. Like, well, I grew up through this 60s, 70s, man. I know what the unions were doing. And why do we want another union?
And it's interesting that the old pirate is very happy to telegraph his punches. He told everybody when he was asking them for $200 each to join the union, he told them all that, if it didn't work out, he was just going to take the money and sail off out the bay.
Yeah.
Now, I've got to say, that little piece that I've played you is only 2 minutes long. It is the second time that he refused to discuss any of the financials in that open forum, which was an executive meeting, although it was a Zoom or whatever it was held, I don't know. But it sounds like they're all on phones. So he refused accountability a couple of times on financial matters related to the union. There is also some discussion of the card that you're talking about, the membership card, of which Rick is the number one ticket holder of. And Rick's card turned up at the wrong address. It turned up at the Santos building in Brisbane at John's address rather than at Rick's. So they didn't have the admin side of it all sorted out. There was some discussion about how much those cards would cost to get printed in a number I won't give out, but it was a number in the hundreds. And John was quite happy to say, "You just send me the invoice and I'll pay it. I'll pay it." Well, I'll pay it, but I don't pay anything. I'll just make sure it's paid. Well, how does this work, John? Just send me the invoice. So all the invoices are going to John, not to the person who's actually paying it. They're going to John. Then John's instructing somebody to pay those invoices, which isn't dissimilar to how a union or a business would work. You know, the invoices would go to the boss. The boss would say, yeah, pay that, or don't pay this. So I'm not inferring something wrong there. What I am suggesting, and Denise, and I haven't put a little video up to it here, so you're going to have to listen to Denise as she tries to explain what she found in the books that concerned her so much.
I'm sorry, I lost it. But seriously, I've been through all those expenses and I'll send it all in Excel copy.
Yep.
And you're going to be horrified. There's Woolworths, there's Aldi's, there's Myers, there's thousands of dollars just taken out of the account. Have no idea what it's for.
No accountability.
No accountability. And that's exactly what we're fighting.
So that's not doom and gloom. None of that's doom and gloom, guys. Say, look, we're all adults here, so let's just process that.
I love that. We're all adults here. Let's just process that. Fuck.
Well,
at the end, I mean, it sums it up.
There's a reason I've never made $1 off this freedom industry, and I don't mind people that do. Okay, but my stance was, I knew the problems it could bring. You know what I mean? If you got involved, it was the first thing that at Epic, just don't go near it. You know what I mean? And everyone would like to say I was running the show down there at Epic. Yeah, I was having a lot to do with it between me, Lance Brown, his wife, etc., etc. But if you go and ask them people when they said to me, right, what are you going to do about the money? I just went, get away. I'll do anything but touch money. You know what I mean? And it's been a good philosophy. You know what I mean? But, and this is what happens. I don't know where they're talking about thousands of dollars, and I don't know whether John can cover it, and it's got nothing to do with me. But when I don't know how many people joined that union. I got a bit of an idea, you know what I mean? But there was a fair bit of money taken there, Carl. You know what I mean?
Well, and even it was over $100,000, well over $100,000.
So to actually take that and go, listen, there's, you're not getting nothing. And I remember him saying, you're not getting nothing for your money. You're just joining the union. Well,
yep.
Like we've got wind turbines out there, guys, where, the company gets paid $600,000 to $900,000 for one turbine, but the old farmer, he only gets $12,000 and he has to pay for the damages if it breaks down. This is what you leave open to happen when you don't do things correctly. All right. But we found all these scams now, and people will, if John's been pulling scams, people will find them. And people will do exactly what they've done here, Carl. Why? Because it's our people's money. You know what I mean? So people will send you or myself an audio and go, hey, have a listen to this. Why? Because people have had a fucking enough. What we want to do is win the country. We don't need another union. We don't need another party. We don't need anything. We need to all come together, and it's fucking over. It's like Carl used to have the ants, if they realize how many there is, they're in trouble. They are in
every
trouble.
Night. Every night. At the end of this show, we show you the solution. At the end of the show, every night, we show you the solution. And that's all of us coming together. If they ever realize that, you know, what they could do if they came together, we'd all be dead. Well, that's exactly what we are, the ants here, folks. You know, that's.
And we've got a helping hand. We've got the USA pushing things forward. We're all smart enough to read what's going on. I hope you guys are smart enough to read what's going on with China, guys, all right? That the mainstream about the tariffs and this, that, and the other. It's a frigging game. We are trying to bring down the cabal side of world influence. That's what we're trying to do, okay? And we have a job to do here, and it's exposure of what's going on. And that's hard because Trump is still being made out a maniac over here, Carl. He's still a rapist, and a criminal, and he's this and he's that. And the mainstream are bagging the shit out of him. So our job is quite hard. But hey, whoever thought it was going to be easy?
At the moment,
China, 5 years ago, what we were walking into, I think.
Well, yeah, we hoped it was going to be over in 3, I've got to remember.
Yeah, true.
Again, there's never been a world war over in 3 years, has there? So somebody pointed that out to me too. What was I going to say to you now? There was something I was going to bring up, and I don't have it here.
That's why you got to have a pen, Carl.
You're talking about China. Yes, normally I do. Talking about China, I see in the mainstream media today the propagation of another story for us all. China have eyes on Australia. They want to make it the next Taiwan, and they believe that they have plenty of historical right to claiming Australia as part of China. And I guess if you go up into far north Queensland, up into the Palmer Goldfields, you're going to find that the Chinese were there as long as we were, absolutely. And they were certainly in the southern goldfields not long after we were there, if they weren't there right at the beginning too. So they have been on the continent for a very long time, and there is some evidence to suggest they discovered the continent some 1,000 years before Captain Cook ran into it by accident. Where do we go? Are we all going to learn Chinese? Will it be Mandarin or Fengwang for us?
Look, take your pick, but I don't want either of them, Carl. So we go back to the same thing again, don't we? You know, we've got a tyrannous, treacherous, right, mutinous government. That's what we've got. They're mutiny. It's a mutiny against the people, all right? And it's a mutiny that is only happening because numbers, guys. You know, and this is where I just urge everyone to get out. It's no time to be shy anymore. No time to be worried about a slap in the face, okay? You know, like a few people have said this, but let's just go back to it for 1 minute. I know when we get through this bullshit that I got a little grandson down there. I'll pick on the grandson, not the granddaughters, all right? And he's going to be able to sit on my knee and he's going to be able to say, hey, Pop, what did you do when they nearly fucking took our life away, Pop? What'd you do? And I'm going to be able to pull out all this shit that I done, Carl, and go, buddy, this is what I done for you, mate. We fought for you. And this is why we've got a good life now. And everyone has to take that aspect. This is not about you. If you are 60-year-old, forget fucking you. All right? I shouldn't put a date on it or an age on it. But if you're on the way out the door, this is not about you. This is about what's coming in behind you. All right? And we have been given the opportunity to see how evil these fuckers are. Okay? So if that's not enough for you to get off your ass and get in this fight and win this frigging thing for the future, I don't know what is, Carl, but that's the way I look at it, mate. Yeah, India's moving in by the thousands, and yeah, guys, we're getting crushed, mate.
Yeah, I was going to bring India up because our immigration policy, although Dutton claims to be bringing it down, so too does Albo. But our immigration policy with regards to India is also interlinked with our school system or our university system, and is deeply interlinked, obviously, with our housing or lack of housing system. Now, we have signed a document with India that allows 249,000 of them in a year, and we only have to send back a few. If they want to stay a bit longer, nobody goes looking for them, and they can live very happily driving Uber for the rest of their days. And people will laugh and say, ha, 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 yeah, they can't. Well, unfortunately, they can. I bring this up because there is a new trend now in New South Wales where if you are an international license holder, you must now change your license over to a New South Wales license within 3 months of you coming to the country. So that means if you are coming to the country on a tourist visa and you plan on staying here for 12 months, you must change your license to a New South Wales license if you're going to be in that state any longer than 3 months. Now, that's going to affect an awful lot of Chinese students who are going to universities throughout New South Wales, both in the city and in the regional areas. Now, how is this going to impact going forward the Australian digital ID system? How is this going to continue to impact both Indian and Chinese drivers on our roads? Let's just go with that. Will it make it better for us insurance-wise? Because at the moment, if you get hit by an Indian on holidays, you've got very little hope of getting any kind of insurance claim or recompense at all. You'll be lucky to see them as they scarper through customs on the way out back home to Mumbai on the next flight. So is this a good thing or a bad thing that people are going to register now to get their license in New South Wales after 3 months?
Look, I think it's just a bad thing. What it's doing is just pulling everyone into the digital ID system, Carl. You know, it's just a big funnel, mate. You know what I mean? And they're doing it everywhere. You know, I know someone that we both know actually got a thing today about registering, you know, her digital ID at her bank. Otherwise, they're going to take maybe, you know, they might just stop her accessing her bank account, Westpac. Now, she handed over a passport, a driver's license and everything else when she actually, you know, 2 years ago, when she made the account, but now they need proof of identity. Guys, it's just a big suck in, mate. All right. The problem is most people are getting to here, right? And then they go, oh, well, I've got to get in there, so I'm just going to have to do it. And they just go ahead and do it, Carl. They just slip down the funnel, mate. The next minute, you're in. You're locked in. You've given them your bio. They got your facial features. They got your iris scan. And you're gone. So it's a very slippery surface. The problem is a lot of people are falling into it. Why? For convenience.
Well, I don't know. Is it that or is it money? Because they're bringing in a lot of money.
Oh, look, of course they are, but we're not seeing that money, Carl. The only person that's seeing that money is the government, mate. You know what I mean? And doing their little fucking scams with it. So, you know, it makes no difference to us that way, I don't think, because we're never going to see the money anyway, not in today's day and age. So all they're doing is taking our housing off us, taking our jobs off us, and, you know, putting our economy more under stress. But you got to remember, all by design, guys, this is exactly what they want. They want you that pissed off that you will go and cause unrest on the streets. This is exactly what they want to drive you to.
What did Craig Kelly have to say about this when you had him on the show, mate? Because obviously immigration's a platform the Libertarians are pushing back on.
Yeah, look, I don't know if we went into that. It was I was banging him. I wasn't mucking around with him, so I was hitting him pretty hard. Look, Craig's a really nice guy, all right? The problem with Craig is he, like a lot of political people, Carl, he's been indoctrinated into a system, and it's like the other people out there, you know, and I'm not having a dig at Craig. I've told him this straight up. You're indoctrinated. The only way we're going to win this, Guru, is to get together and get to the polls and do this and do that. I'm going, Craig, they've been ripping us off for years. Nothing's elected. It's all selected, mate. I can show you the proof of how they steal it. You know, yeah, I've seen that. Well, what are you doing then? You know, so again, this indoctrination, you know what I mean? And it's a sad thing to see because Craig wants to do the right thing and knows that things are wrong. He's been talking out about it for a long time, you know, but he's just lost in the system. And this is a system they built, Carl. You know, as I said, all by design, mate. These guys knew what they were doing. You know, we're up against a very, very difficult enemy.
So I'm struggling to find out why anybody would vote for Libertarians then, given that we're just voting Craig back into a job because, he's a nice guy.
Let's look at who's funding the Libertarians, Carl. Where do they get their money from, mate? Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name now, but yeah, I do know a couple of them. But anyway, yeah, again, you know, they got, you know, big money coming into the Libertarian Party. Why? Oh, yeah, I wonder why. Because they'll be controlled, guys. All right, more lobbyists in the background waiting to control what goes on. This is how the lobbyists work. There should be no lobbyists. We got one. What is it? 6-1 in Parliament, Carl. 6 lobbyists, isn't it? Or 6 or 8 or something to 1.
6 or 8, yeah. I was talking to Michael O'Neill from the Heart Party the other night, and I got a very good feeling from Michael, and
He's another one
I know two
plug,
people who are running. They are very genuine folks who want to do the right thing and are very happy, should they get elected, to stand in that place and do the right thing for us all. I really hope they get enough in there to make a difference, and I'll be helping as many of them as I can. But I'm happy to help any independent who wants to stand up, and there's one I'll be talking to in South Australia. And in fact, coming up on Thursday, I'll be talking with Dr. William Bay, who is running as well.
Yeah.
So, and he's on, I think, on a ticket with Rennick as well. So we're sort of talking to a few of those sort of folks, because I know there are some people who want to go and vote. There are some people who won't. I don't care whether you do or you don't. Makes no difference to me. We've just got something interesting to talk about and some interesting people to talk to, because we can't get any of the mainstream politicians because, well, they know the kinds of questions we'll ask, and that'll make them look uncomfortable. And
exactly. That's where I take my hat off to Craig Kelly, mate. He come on and he took the heat off Guru, and he was cool. You know what I mean? But that's what we've got to do, Carl. We've got to be asking the hard questions. Like, if I went on there and pushed around on him, what do you think my viewers are going to say to me? They know me. They know what they're expecting me to ask and what the issues that we are worried about are. You know what I mean? Which is the kids. You know what I mean? The 28 names and the bullshit in our government. Once we can get rid of that, we can start and tidy this place up. But we've still got a hard job, guys. We've still got an enormous hill in front of us to walk. The good thing is the two major parties, right, the wings of the same bird, are stuffing each other up every day. And they've got another 30 days of being absolute idiots out there. So let them go, Carl, is what I say, because I think they're doing more damage to themselves than what we could ever do.
Couldn't agree more. Mate, I can't let you go without asking how your health is, and a lot of people in the chat have asked what's going on with your lip. So I don't know what you shared on your show.
Yeah, no, look, guys, I've got a squamous cell carcinoma on my lip. Okay, we're dealing with it through some frequencies and stuff like that. My rest of my body, I've had some scans, different scans, guys. There's some really freaky, insane scans out there that'll tell you all about your body. All right, I'm not talking about the old ones. I'm talking about the new technology. And look, guys, I'm fit, man. I'm still doing me 50 push-ups in 50 seconds. I still do my dips. I go for a walk when I have to. But look, I'm good. I've got one little patch of cancer here. It's in a sac, which makes me really happy about it. All right. It's got a little hole in my lip, or a huge hole in my lip, where it can get out, but it can't get into my body. So my body's clear. I am having trouble fighting this, guys. Yeah. Hey, but listen, I would also believe it's probably government induced, and I think they've topped me up, Carl, because we were getting on top of it and we were doing really well. I come out in the show and said how great it was going, and bang. So, us conspiracy theorists, we might have some other thoughts. But all in all, guys, I'm healthy as shit, okay? I've got one part of my body that's giving me a crap hard time, and I'm trying to deal with it, working with the mainstream system, but not allowing them to use me as they like to use other people. So I'm actually talking to a really big specialist guy here in Wollongong who's just been on a bit of a 4-country world tour to do with things like immunotherapy and stuff like that, Carl, new ways to treat this cancer. And I brought up in the office the other day because we were getting into a bit of a debate, and he read out, because I got to go, I'm loving talking to all these people, right? So I got to go and see this immunologist on Friday. And anyway, he read out the thing that he sent over to him, Carl. Oh, God, man. He said, look, I told this guy straight. He said, you do not agree with anything that we do. You're a frigging nightmare to deal with. You know what I mean? I'm not really a nightmare. I'm just trying to get. So then I said to him, okay, what about the Cancer Act 1939? And he went, what? I said, the Cancer Act that they created in 1939. Doc, what about that? I don't know about that. I said, okay. Well, in the same year, they start that, right? And I said, hang on, the Cancer Act. They told every doctor that if you had a cure for cancer, you'll be deregistered. You're not allowed to have one. I said, yet the same year, we started taking money to research for cancer solutions. And he just sort of looked at me and he didn't want to take that conversation any further. But this is the stuff we've got to say, guys. We've got to get involved in the mainstream medical system without letting them push you around. All right, you make your own decisions, but And I know the appointments can be expensive, this, that, and the other. I've been very, very lucky. But that's a God thing too. I think God's got me in the midst of here. You know what I mean? Talking to these people, Carl. So very interesting conversations. I'm really healthy, guys, but I'm going in and I'm talking to these guys and I'm trying to prove to them that there's other ways to do things. And why have we got this Cancer Act? Why have we got this? You know what I mean? Can you just wake the up? You know what I mean? Because we need to look at this whole thing differently.
100%. Can I just give you one bit of advice while you're going into the hospital? If they do approach you with a needle, just make sure it doesn't have green fluid in it. It's been my experience, green fluid needle doesn't have a good ending, at least not for the dog.
Look, Carl, and look, mate, they've got us everywhere. Look at what the vets are doing to us. You know, all these people have no conscience, mate. You know, there's no conscience whatsoever. It's all about the money. And I've watched this. I've just watched a friend die through medical malpractice not long ago. You know what I mean? And it was, they got her in the door. They told her she had this. When they done that, then they told her, oh, this has happened. So now you've got to have that. Then they gave her blood transfusions. Next minute, it's cancer throughout the body. You know what I mean? And the fight's lost, Carl. Now, all of that was medical malpractice. And what it was them in a private situation, knowing that they can bill against that client or that patient. I'm going to call them a client, not a patient, because they're only there to make money off, right? And they get 100%. To bill huge money to do them operations. So some of these doctors are getting you in, and then they're just creating the next problem and the next problem and the next problem, whilst their secretary, like John's secretary, excuse me, motorbikes there, is actually writing out the invoices. You know what I mean? Now, this immunotherapy that I'm going to have a discussion about, Carl, 120 grand.
Wow.
120 grand.
Wow.
Now, how does a normal person afford 120 grand? Maybe I might have to start asking for money. No, that's a joke, guys. I would never ask for money. But it's 120 grand. Now, you know, for, let's say, a shot in the arm every 3 weeks for X amount of time to get some T cells working, is that really worth $120,000? Well, guess what? People will go, my life's worth that. I'll pay it. And this is what happens, Carl. You know what I mean? So, thanks, Orion. Love you, darling. I know you've all got me back and you're all praying for me. And, guys, it's just the battle we're in, all right? We've all, and for anyone else out there dealing with anything, you know, same. All right? We're all praying for each other, all right? It's a unity thing, guys, all right? We're all in this together, remember?
100%.
Yeah.
All right, mate, I'm going to love you and leave you for tonight. I hope you and Mel have a good week. And while Kaz is having her couple of days off, I hope you enjoy putting
Kaz. I can't believe how long she's gone, mate. You know what I mean? Without, like, we just, there's only a couple of shows we've ever missed, Carl. So it's been a mammoth effort. But, it's got to the stage where, last night, Mel wasn't well. I had another bloke, a friend in hospital. You know, you and me couldn't fucking tee up, and Kaz had just
we were trying to fix it out.
So, guys, let's just do what we're doing. All right. Hope this has been a great show for you. You've got some inspiration, because that's what we need, guys, to get out there, get the word out, stop the rot, sack a lot of the fuckers. All right, and let's get some people in there that are going to work for us. Thanks, Carl.
Good night, brother. Stay well. Talk to you soon. Guru, and been a while since we've had him on. Great chat, and of course, in our prayers with what he's going through at the moment too. Same as you are. There are a few of you in the family who are going through your own trials and tribulations. You're in my prayers every night, and I know that in our family here in the chat, you're in everybody else's as well. You know who you are, so we are thinking of you. Life on the farm ain't kind of laid back. We've been firing up the chainsaws and chopping down. Well, not chopping down. The trees are already down. We've been breaking those trees up, and I need to go and have a shower. I didn't get one out before the show tonight, so I'm going to need to shoot off and go and do that. And maybe have myself a steak for dinner. I've been trying to get to one of those for the last couple of nights, and got some beautiful steak in the freezer. So looking forward to giving that a bit of a go. Hopefully it'll thaw out in an hour or 3. Tomorrow, we're same time, same place tomorrow night. I'm in the process of trying to organise someone else to chat to. We'll see whether or not that comes through tomorrow. If not, we will be talking to William Bay on Thursday, and he is having a get-together in Indooroopilly in Brisbane on Sunday evening, I want to say. I will get you further details of that if you want to come up. I will actually be attending that as well. I'll take a camera along. We'll film a little bit there, may even get another chat with him. And one of the candidates for the Heart Party that I happen to know will be speaking at that event as well. So if you want to find out who that candidate is, then come along. I'll give you the details, but you can probably get them through Billy. Billy Bay is, I nearly said his website. No, I've forgotten it. It might be williambay.com.au or billybay.com.au. Try those. If not, you should be able to find the link eventually to his get-together Sunday night, and I'll see you there in Indooroopilly for that one. And, of course, I've been quite remiss. I haven't played any of the video the other day of when we turned up at the Governor's in Brisbane. That was about, wasn't last Saturday, it was the week before. Couldn't attend last Saturday, unfortunately. Had to help someone move house, but might make a bit of an effort for it this Saturday again. And I will play a little bit of what happened at the Governor's a week and a bit ago, maybe in tomorrow night's show. But we made a few statements. Everybody there, I think, made a statement. And hopefully the Governor heard. She certainly heard me. I can guarantee that. And she was actually in. And we were all television stars. They spun all their cameras around and had a good look at us. So all a bit of fun. Urge you to join that little get-together every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. at the Governor's Gates in Paddington. Very easy to find, easy parking. Get along and join the gang. It was well worthwhile getting along. And hello to Margaret and the crew who were there. I will talk to you again at some stage tomorrow. I haven't fixed the issue with the mobile phone yet. Otherwise, I'd show you a bit of what we're doing during the day. We do have some very large wood. Today, we must have cut one tree that had fallen down, one gum tree. It took us 7 hours, 2 blokes, 2 chainsaws and an excavator. 7 hours, and it's still not quite finished yet into like splittable wood. We nearly got it all into splittable wood, but little way to go yet. Chewing through chains, though, like you wouldn't believe. Well, I guess it's to be expected. It's hard wood. And we are going to have some wood for you if you are up for it. If you live in the southeast corner of Queensland, if you're prepared to come and get it, we could look after your wood for all of winter if that's what you need. And I also have some friends in far north Queensland who've shown some interest in getting some hardwood. Now, we can arrange anything from firewood through to strainer posts, if that's what you want. If you're looking for split posts, we're going to be cutting a lot of those. We've got a lot of wood that's leaning towards that, and a lot of strong ironbark and real hardwood timber. I know that there isn't a lot of hardwood timber up in far north Queensland. So if you want it, I'm prepared to get it on a truck or whatever it needs to be put on and get it to you. And obviously at very, 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 very good rates. Mates rates, shall we say. But contact me if you are interested. Don't have to be in far north Queensland. If you're in the southeast corner of Queensland and you're looking for wood, email me, carl@vofhq.com. If you are looking for wood for winter, and I know in Brisbane I paid, I want to say it was over $300 for a cubic metre delivered, just dumped in the middle of the driveway at home, not even stacked or taken to anywhere, just dumped. And I want to say it was over $300 or very close to $300. You won't pay anything like that. Bring your trailer, we'll fill it up within limits. And you will not be charged a fortune. We will especially look after people from My Place. So if you're a My Place member or you're a Voice of Freedom member, then we'll look after you with that too. But trust me, if you need some wood, have I got a deal for you? All right, be safe on the roads. The dickheads are out there, folks. Enjoy your night.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!